Hi guys. This lesson will focus on 1 Samuel, chapters 1 through 7. The story will share details about Samuel's mother dedicating him to God, God speaking to Samuel, the Ark of the Covenant being captured, and finally the Ark being returned. I hope you enjoy. Samuel's mother, Hannah, prayed that if God gave her a son, she would give him back to God to serve him. Eli, who was the high priest at the time, said, God has heard your prayer. May he give you what you ask. Hannah did have a son, and she called him Samuel, which means heard by God. She kept her promise, and when Samuel was old enough, she took him to Eli, so Samuel could serve God at the tabernacle. As Samuel grew, he served the Lord with all his heart, even though Eli's sons, Hophni and Phinehas, who were both older than Samuel, did not. They would steal and treat the servants badly. They deliberately disobeyed their father Eli and did not show him respect. The greedy pair got fat from feasting on all the best offerings that were supposed to be sacrificed to God. One night, God spoke to Samuel about Eli and his sons. When Eli asked Samuel what God had said, Samuel did not want to tell him, but Eli insisted. Young Samuel broke the bad news that Eli and his sons were going to die in the very near future. Eli knew he had let his sons do wrong, and God was not going to let them get away with it anymore. Let the Lord do what he thinks is best, Eli said, as he hung his head in sadness and shame. Sometime later, after a defeat in a battle with the Philistines, the Israelites had an idea how to defeat their enemies. They thought that if they carried the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord into battle, they could not lose. The Ark was holy and a symbol of God's presence and power. Foolishly, Hophni, Phinehas, and other priests carried the Ark of the Covenant into battle against the Philistines the next day. Eli put a chair just outside the city gate so he could get the news about the battle as soon as possible. He was very old now and could hardly see. Finally, a messenger came running from the battlefield with news. The Israelites had been beaten badly with the loss of over 30,000 men. I'm sorry to tell you this, Eli, but your two sons were killed, and the Philistines have captured the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord. A shocked Eli threw himself back, and his chair fell backwards. Eli broke his neck and died. Everything God had told Samuel years earlier had now come true. So now the Philistines had the Ark of the Covenant. They took it back with them to the town of Ashdod and put it in their temple next to their fish god, Dagon. That night, a strange thing happened. The stone god Dagon fell face down in front of the Ark of the Covenant. So you know what the Philistines did? They gathered together and hoisted Dagon back up again. The next morning, when the Philistine diviners showed up, Dagon had fallen again before the Ark of the Covenant. But this time his arms were broken off, and his head was in the doorway of the temple. The diviners were shocked. They called the leaders of Ashdod and said, "We have to get rid of the ark. Not only has Dagon been damaged, but the people of the town are all getting sick." The leaders agreed. "Let us send the ark to the city of Gath." And so they did. But pretty soon, people in the Philistine city of Gath were plagued with sickness. So the citizens of Gath decided to get rid of the ark and sent it to the nearby city of Ekron. Now, the people of Ekron had already heard about what had happened in Ashdod and Gath. So when they saw the ark coming over the hill to their city, they cried, "No, we don't want the ark." Even before it had reached their city, people were falling sick and being plagued. The ark was moved on to 5 cities in all and remained in Philistine territory for a total of 7 months. The troubled Philistines took 2 cows and hitched them to a cart in the middle of a field. The ark and a guilt offering was placed in the cart. They decided if the cows began to head toward the Israelite territory, they would know their troubles were caused by the God of Israel. If not, then all these diseases were just a coincidence. Sure enough, the cows went straight toward Bethshemesh, an Israelite territory. Some of the Philistines followed the cows until they reached the border at Bethshemesh. When the Israelites saw the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord returning on a cart being pulled by 2 cows, they were overjoyed. The cows stopped at a large rock, which the Israelites turned into an altar to make sacrifices to God. The Philistine rulers, who watched from a distance, then reported back to their cities. Samuel called all the Israelites together. "If you are serious about returning to the Lord, get rid of all your idols and obey God. Then he will protect you from the Philistines." Now the people agreed and gathered at Mizpah to offer sacrifices, fast, and confess to the Lord. When the Philistines heard about this gathering, they decided to attack. The frightened Israelites cried out to Samuel, "Plead with the Lord to save us." Samuel prayed. The Lord thundered with a mighty sound that day and confused the Philistine army. The Philistines were defeated. I hope you've enjoyed 1 Samuel chapters 1 through 7. You got to hear about Samuel, his mother Hannah, and the manner in which she dedicated him to God. Samuel being a faithful servant of God. I hope you've learned something from this. The following slides will give you lessons and activities to deepen your knowledge of God's Word. Here are some printable activities. They can also be just viewed online for Hannah dedicating Samuel to God. You can scan the QR code or simply enter in the bit.ly to take you to the document. The QR code and link provided here will allow you to access documents. They give you some activities to do on 1 Samuel where God speaks to Samuel. If you're looking for a deeper study of the Ark being captured, you can scan the QR code here, type in the bit.ly. Either one will access documents where there are activities, puzzles, questions, and lessons dealing with this subject. Lastly, you'll find a QR code and link to documents and activities for the Ark is returned. You can scan this or simply type in the bit.ly to access these documents.